Hello, and thank you again for tuning into Seshat's Wisdom. Today, I have another lesson to share regarding what the reality is that you think you're living in. I recently did a video called The Worlds Within. That video is a presentation outlining what the worlds within your human body are and what they contain, what energies they're responsible for, what you can do with them, and how it can help you resolve things in your waking world, things of that nature. Definitely check it out while it's still available for free. I will have it up for a while since my channel is new, but after a certain amount of videos, you will have to be a member to look at the presentations. So definitely check that out now. But I wanted to elaborate a bit more because my presentations are actual presentations about one topic with supporting commentary. In this instance, I want to make you aware of what reality is. I mentioned briefly in the presentation, just quickly went over what the mirror world is, right? So the mirror world, I did touch on it, but it was very brief. And that was on purpose because I knew that if I deep dive into that, it would definitely make the presentation longer than it already is. And so I'm going to share that now. The mirror world is actually the waking world. Yes, you're up right now listening to this. You get up every day, you wake up, and you go out into what you believe is the real world. It is not. It is the mirror world, okay? The real world is the one that you cannot remember, that you were trained not to remember or pay attention to, and what, by wicked design, you were meant to not know the secrets about. You see, the mirror world is nothing but a representation of your inner worlds projected. This is the mirror world. I want to say that there were certain topics in the past that other prophetic people went over. They said that certain things would happen in 2012. And when those things did not happen, it turned a lot of people off. I'm always cautioning people to, well, when I say people, I mean prophetic people, cautioning them when it comes to dates. Because I would listen to certain video and I knew for a fact what they meant, but that's because I was on a higher state of consciousness. When you listen to the videos from the past that talk about something being prophesied in 2012, it did not happen because the person who was prophesizing forgot to mention, or maybe lacked the understanding at the time of the mirror world, okay? In regards to mirror, of course we think of just a reflection, which is also true, but also when it comes to the mirror world here, you have to understand that you also must consider things in the reverse. Most of what the real prophets of the past prophesied would happen in 2012 actually happened in 2021. So you take the first part of the year is correct, but then the last two digits you reverse when you're prophesizing things. If you're lucky enough to see a date, sometimes you don't see a date. Sometimes you just see something happen, or happening rather, and you just don't know when. But regardless of whether or not you know the precise date, time, location, matters not. Maybe you're not supposed to know. You still have to talk about it. You still have to warn people about what you saw in the dream realm. The dream realm is the real world. Things happen there, then happen in this world, the mirror world, the waking world. People need to also understand something. As I've stated in the Tao of Riches, it's a book available at seshatswisdom.com. Right now, it's in electronic book. Well, it's in a PDF version. And so that's how it is for now. You can download it and read it. But I do plan on creating a hardback book, or rather, a physical book. It might not be hardback. It might just be regular paperback. But regardless, in that book, I outline that money in its essence is not the fiat currency paper. It is energy. It's energy. And so now a lot of people get thrown off because they feel like, and this is me referring to them in the waking world, the mirror world. I'm a very positive person. I love what I do, or maybe I don't. I do the best I can to help others. And honestly, when you're saying money is energy, I'm wondering what you mean. Do you mean that I have to do what I love in order to be rich or even a millionaire, things like that? No. That's not what I mean at all. It means that your real abundance is in the spirit realm. Because in the spirit realm, which is the sleeping world, worlds, plural too, nothing in those worlds, whether you venture inside the body or astral travel, none of the worlds in the spirit require any kind of payment for anything. I have written books on fashion from other worlds. Well, one book. And I go over the different places I've astral traveled in other dimensions and realities. And I can tell you that what's true is that they do not require money for anything, whether it's food, whether it's clothes, shelter especially. Even if you go to the heaven realms, that's not how the system the Jade Emperor created works. It does not work on fiat currency, right? And so, yes, so the rule of thumb is paper currency is only existent, really, even on other planets. Yes, there is life on other planets as well. Not sure how they run their system. Never been there. But this system is focused on fiat currency, working, getting up, going to a place, maybe not, getting up, going behind your laptop. Who knows? It's physical. And then they compensate you for that way, way, way below its worth. Now, since your real money is in the spirit realm, that is where your abundance is, and that is where you are energetically, because everything is energy except for, when you are in your physical body to traverse the waking world, aka mirror world, you have to sustain it physically. Therefore, they translated the money into fiat currency, right? But regardless of that fact, you still should be very abundant and comfortable. But let me get to the point here, because I don't want to get off topic. It's like a tree branch. When I start talking about something, it branches. So I'm circling back. Your real currency is in the spirit world. But most of you can't even remember your dreams. Your vibration dictates your energy. And of course, if you have melanin in your body, it means that you have a high vibrating spirit that only a melanin body can contain or manage. And so your skin has to be dark to maintain your soul and to contain it, which means in the spirit world, you truly are abundant. Now, I mentioned in other videos that ancestors, they use your energy. They may or may not need it. Remember that in order for your bloodline to continue to thrive, you have to make sure that you honor your ancestors and that you charge up through prayer. And so, essentially, as a melanin dominant person, there's a lot of factors that determine whether or not you will be abundant on the physical plane. On the spiritual plane, though, your unlimited when it comes to energy. You can go and you can do anything. But unfortunately, a lot of melanin dominant people's bloodline are struggling in the spirit world. And there's a reason why. You remember that part on the Matrix where Neo went into the body, and when he went into the body, and Matrix 1 has been out for years, so I don't care if I'm spoiling it for anyone. When Neo took the red pill, I believe it was a red pill for the truth. I can't remember. If it's not, I'll just, correct myself. But he took the red pill, and they did something to him. They put something in, he ate it, and then he was tripping out, and then it looks like something, he went inside his own mouth down to his body, and then he sounded computerized, sort of. But to his disbelief, when he went into his body, he rised up as something in a cocoon powering a bigger system. That is a representation of your spirit. Unfortunately, that's how the majority of you guys as spirits are. You're supposed to be in the spirit realm free to build, free to do anything you want, and of course, abundant. If you are not free in the spirit world, you are poor in the waking world. And the way you get free from that machine you're in, from that cocoon, the same one that Neo was in, and when he looked on, he saw thousands, even hundreds, probably millions of people in these pods getting energy siphoned. You are one of those people. And since you are literally not free in the spirit world, then in this waking world, you most certainly are not. And all those people who are in those pods are controlled by the system. Their spirit is contained the minute they step onto this plane and get their new body. The program starts. And unfortunately, some are given things within their physical body to prevent their talents, or even to make them forget who they were, forget all this information. When you're in the spirit, that's when all the memories come back and everything comes back. But again, envision Neo in the Matrix in all those pods. All those people are not free, so they are limited to the energy that they can have in the spirit world, which is usually zero. Instead, since their spirit is contained, the only way they can get energy is through the waking world. And if you rely on the waking world for your income, that is what you get. Minimal. Unless you follow their system, unless you conform to their system, unless you agree to their system, unless you decide to forego your spiritual talents and just settle into the system. There's even people who are in those pods, but they have an inkling that there's more, but they're going to ignore it, and they're going to keep on making sure they get up every day and work until they die, or choose to, rather. And that's the only time they will remember everything they went through, is when they wake up and they're a free spirit, because officially that body is done. That physical body is no longer in action. And so that's where the spirit now remembers everything. And people always wonder why people would reincarnate and come back here, because the spirit knows the truth now and realizes what they had, and they try to go back in, swearing that they will remember. And sometimes it takes them lifetimes to get it right. When a spirit is in one of those cocoons, and while I'm on the topic of the cocoons, it doesn't necessarily have to be those like pods. It can also be like a spider web where a person is cocooned in. It could be like that. There's many types. Neo's was the pod style. Maybe for one sector, but then there's more, and there's different ways that they siphon humans' energy in the spirit world. They siphon it through the spirit. They own the spirit. The spirit does not do anything there but control the human body. And even that is wishy-washy sometimes. When a body, when a spirit or soul is in those pods, since they are not free, since their mind is not free, since they don't remember, they will wake in the mirror world, aka the waking reality, and just get up, wash up, go to work, do it all over again. Once or if they break that cycle, that is when their spirit can be free. But the unfortunate thing is that while you are in the mirror world, or in this waking world rather, you are under some kind of mind control to an extent. No one is completely clean of that. But there are some people who are freer than others. The minute someone completely breaks free is when they turn into light. When they turn into light, now their spirit body is merged with their physical body, and they are unstoppable. Just like, remember the part in the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson, I apologize. In the movie Lucy, she came into all her abilities. And in the end, she just turned into pure light, and she was everywhere. And that is something that people have done on this plane. But most do not, because it's very difficult to break the initial mind control in order to activate that. Some people are still only activated in the third circuit of their brain. Some people will never, ever, ever operate in the highest circuit of the brain, because in order for you to do that, you have to either come into the waking plane as a special case. They usually refer to them as chosen ones, and I'll get back to them later. Or let's actually cover the chosen one. I want to make something clear, because I know that along the lines I will forget to mention it. Chosen ones, their soul is not contracted. When you're a regular person in one of those pods, unfortunately, or one of those capsules just like Neo was in, unfortunately, those souls are bind and they're contracted, which means they are expected to work in the different systems created on this plane by the powers that be. And so it's fine for them to get jobs, and they can usually get jobs and keep them for years on end. Now, mind you, this is all while this person is still able to pay off and pay off karmatic debt, earn karma, things like that. But they're still being controlled. No. They are able to, they are contracted since they're in those containers. And so when they get a job, they can stay in it forever. One of the main issues that many chosen ones have is not being able to keep employment. And it's always puzzling why. You vibrate high, you do everything. Yes, that's true. But chosen ones are people sent. Due to universal law, you are allowed the truth. By divine right and through grace, the powers that be that govern the laws in this mirror world, aka waking world, they still abide by universal law, and they still have to tell you the truth. And how do they do that? Through entertainment. Now, another thing that they have to do is abide by the laws in reference to chosen ones. chosen ones notoriously have a very difficult time in the waking plane. And it's because they are still attached to, they're not completely controlled in the spirit. And also, too, by divine right and through grace, they are not contracted. Meaning this, they are the ones out of many. Envision, again, what Neo saw when he sat up out of his pod. So many. And in that, out of so many, they were allowed to keep some spiritual truths. They were the ones allowed to share the insight, the truths. They are the ones allowed to keep the knowledge of the ancient, to keep their connection to the spirit world and even their God powers. And so now when they're manifested on this plane, the powers that be, who really don't want these chosen ones to wake up anybody, because if they do, then they'll break free out of the system and they won't work in this system on this plane that they created. They want as many slaves as possible. But when a chosen one is in the mix, that one person could wake up a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean they can shut down an entire circuit in the spirit world where people are cocooned or contained in those pods. And they don't want that, because they need the spirit to power this system, and they need to be able to control the spirit. But if somebody is on their plane waking folks up, then the spirit will wake up. And so I say that because by divine right and through grace, chosen ones are protected. They are protected, right? Protected, but that doesn't mean they aren't tormented. They still get bullied. They still get threatened. They still have people acting very odd around them. And 9 times out of 10, those people are negative entities, and they traverse this world as well. As a matter of fact, they are the powers that be. They're low vibrating entities in high positions. And so they don't mind giving a chosen one a hard time, because unlike you, their third eye is open and they can see everyone's energetic pattern, their auras and everything. And the chosen one sticks out like a sore thumb in the crowd. They can spot them from an airplane, in the sky, high in the sky. And so when a chosen one is just following the pattern of their parents, their friends and loved ones, going to school, getting an education, and call themselves trying to get a job, by divine right and through grace, they cannot be controlled. They must be free, because they are sent on assignment. But you see, when you come into this life, this mirror world, this waking world, again, you forget. Some of you have the pokey poke when you're born. Okay? And it is said that it contains things that are harmful. But since you don't remember who you are, I would believe that. That's the most dangerous thing you can do, is make someone forget who they are, to take away their knowledge. Okay? And so when a chosen one calls themselves trying to get a job, of course, some of them, I'd say most of them get hired, because not every presence in these companies are wicked. There are people who are high vibration, who have high vibrating spirits. It could be the hiring manager. It could be the HR person. And they're like, I don't know what it is, but this person's perfect. They're smart, or they're really talented, and I just love their energy. There are certain things that you have to submit when you get a job. And amongst many things, it is your social. When you enter into this plane, dark ones, and I hate using the word dark, because dark does not mean evil, but unfortunately a lot of people associate it with evil. And so sometimes I'll slip up and use that, but I'm going to say negative, or rather low vibrational people. There are low vibrational people working everywhere. And now you find some places are completely toxic, but no worries, they're going to get the balance back, because it's important for these companies to be balanced, because they need the system to keep going. And if so many people, if it's so toxic that it can't function, that's dangerous. But when it comes to chosen ones, yes, when they come into this plane, the wicked entities, the wicked spirits that you can't see, but they're there, and the ones that are on this plane as well, no, they know the schedule. There's a grand entrance when they are born. There's many spirits around. It's a big deal, because they're 1 in a million. And so when they come out, and I say 1 in a million, but the millennials, more chosen ones came out during that time, a lot. And that's why a lot of movies coming out that came out in the 80s were woke. And that's why a lot of people who were speaking on metaphysics in the 80s, they spoke, and it was to adults in that time, which are a lot older, but the videos are not directed to them. They're directed to the people of now for this time. All the, like Bobby Hemmett, those videos weren't for those people. Clearly, if it were, we wouldn't be in this position. Those people just wanted to be entertained. And he made it clear that he knew that he would only reach maybe 4 people out of the entire room. But those videos are still DVD. People have transferred them to YouTube. Some of them have like really like hard quality to, hear with the audio or even watch, but that's on purpose, because since the recordings were done on video, physical cassette video, they can't tamper with it like they can with AI. But I digress. Chosen ones, when they come into the plane, and before I move on, and so since they can't be tampered with, the knowledge can't be tampered with. But it wasn't for those people they were talking to. When Bobby Hemmett spoke, it wasn't for those people. It was being recorded for the future, for you people to watch and know the truth. But I digress, finally. When it's a chosen one, it's a big deal. There are demons around. There are good spirits, bad spirits, angels, you name it. And they are come into this earth, and on the plane when they are born, there is always a low vibrating entity or low vibrating demon or wicked entity that has a physical body that works in the system. And when they get assigned their birth certificate and their social security card, they put it in the system with a little extra oomph. And so now, when these chosen ones go into the real world and call themselves just trying to make a living, they go into the place, people are drawn to them, they love them, oh my gosh. But usually there's a dark entity there who, they might not show it, but they don't like them. And they may not know why, but they may know why, depending on how much of a human they are and how much of a human they are not. But all you know is they still abide by their laws that they created on this waking world. But once they get into that business or company, and I'm talking the chosen one, and they pull up their records and, yeah, we pulled up your background check. Yeah, background check. And we pulled up your criminal record and you're all clear. You're ready. But what they also pulled up, and this only pertains to those who know, is your status. And the minute they see a chosen one, they're like, oh no, he or she has got to go. We got to get him out. We either got to push them out on their own, meaning harass them or bully them or make them fire themselves or make them leave, or we got to conspire to get them out And do you know why that is? Because any business that hires a chosen one will tank, will be cursed, will be reassessed. They have to make sure that they fire them in a certain amount of time before it's too late. Lots of people who consider themselves chosen one who have been experiencing those instances where they know something's up. They can't keep a job and they keep on getting fired for no reason. They keep like, it's just, they can't, people conspire. They sit in a room and talk about them, and then they try to set them up and get them fired. And you're like, wow, I just want to eat. I just want to live. Well, don't take it to heart. Their entire infrastructure, their entire business will tank, and not because of, sales being slow on this, nothing like that. It's because of the spirit. Because chosen ones are wealthy in the spirit world. And by divine right and through grace, since they are chosen, they are not to be controlled. And so these companies have to abide by universal law, and they have to abide by the spiritual pact that they also made, because they are a part of the truth that they have to abide by in order to operate on this plane. They must abide universal law. They must honor spiritual law. And so usually the people hiring, they're wicked. And if they aren't the ones that hired the chosen one, if, all the people they interviewed with were not wicked, somehow, once the data gets back, once you give them your social and you get your background check, that is when the higher ups, it'll hit them. You have a chosen one working for your company. Get them out now, or else all this that was built up is done. So what happens is the conspiring starts from the top and then trickles down. Ever wonder why your benefits kick in within 3 months? It's because usually that's the time limit they have to get a chosen one out. Now, mind you, the 3 months thing, it applies to everyone. It's just when your benefits kick in, and also if you work in an at-will state, after 3 months, they don't have to give you any severance pay, I believe. I believe if they fire you before the 3 months, then you just get unemployment. You don't get a severance package, something like that, or your benefits, something like that. Well, now you know. Now you know. Because that gives them enough time to try to work out a way to get the chosen one out. And so that is why a chosen one can't keep work. Now, let me tell you what happens if they don't get them out in time, because sometimes their own laws trip them up. If they don't manage to get that chosen one out within that grace period, then now they got to keep going. But now guess what? That company might go bankrupt. That company might shut its doors. That company may just tank in some way. They'll experience a big hardship. And it really depends on how big the company is. The bigger the company is, the more they can bear when they let go. Like, they won't necessarily go completely under, but they will experience some kind of rift somewhere. But the smaller the company is, they will feel the hit. And so that's why it's necessary for them to get you out in time. But I will say, even if you work directly for the company, or even if you go from a temp agency, even if it's a temp agency, if it's a temp agency, that means that although that person isn't officially working for the company, they still are in the company's system, because you're getting paid somehow. Somehow that company is paying for you. And so now, if you let it go past 3 months, it doesn't matter. They're still going to get hit. And in a way, it's a danger for them to really hire a chosen one as a temp, because it's still, they're paying the temp agency for that person, but they're still technically working for their company and giving their energy to that company. And so now, if they work past 3 months, you're still susceptible. What happens when a chosen one is not fired in time? Like I said, things go south. If a company fires them in time, they still hit. They still get hurt, but not as badly as if they went past 3 months. You see what I'm saying? So they'll still take a hit, but not as bad as if they let you stay there and work. They might have to go through a struggle period, but they'll bounce back. But that's if they get you out. That's why they have to hurry up and get you out of there. And that's in regards to a chosen one. But when you're a regular person, it doesn't matter. You can stay there forever, because your souls are technically theirs when you come into this plane, because your soul is encapsulated, and how it gets there in the first place is through the system and how you are birthed. When you are birthed, that is when you are assigned to a capsule, just like Neo was in, if they get to do what I said. But then you have other cultures and other places that do not believe in that. And so their souls aren't contractually bind. And if you notice, most of the people, if they aren't poked or whatever, then you notice they live a different way of life. They're not getting this, they're not getting that, they're not doing all that. They have a different state of being. And usually they live lives where they get to do what they want, usually. But it's not the same. They're not controlled. And so if you're not in a system, even people who work for themselves are still technically in the system, but not. But those who, work in the system, are loyal to it, you'll find that they have an easier time in life. But if you aren't in the system, or not allowed to be, because that's what chosen ones are. Chosen ones are not allowed to be contained, because they are a part of the truth to put on this world to give humanity a fighting chance. So they are automatically ejected. So what happens is these chosen ones, they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to survive. Well, I will tell you, you have to do what you were sent to this plane to do, and trust in the universe and have faith. And that may be very difficult for some people, since they did not grow up on that. They didn't grow up on knowing anything like that. But guess what? It'll keep happening until you do. And out of complete exhaustion and fear and stress, you're going to find a way to do what you're supposed to do. But also, too, if you are a chosen one, you are connected to the spirit world. That tie was never severed. And you can ask for help, and you can get the prophetic dreams you need to comfort you, and you can get the signs and signals that your subconscious mind sends to you, letting you know you are chosen, and they will lead you to the truth so you can live happier. And so that's what I wanted to express. This is a channeling, and it's necessary because not everything will come to me textbook square organize. I just have to speak. And y'all listen. And I apologize if it sounds like I'm jumping all over the place. It's not meant to confuse you. But when it comes to my mind, I must share Seshat's wisdom. The world's within. The spirit. Remember, you are just batteries. You really are in the spirit. If you find that you don't have abundance in the waking world, it's because you're poor in the spirit world. And because you're poor in the spirit world, you're not going to have any abundance here because you are nothing but energy there. And so how do you alleviate that? You merge back with the spirit world. You start praying, you start talking to your ancestors. You start not ignoring the dreams you think are weird. You start getting your dream book and you start analyzing things. You start remembering your dream, because guess what? Once you want to start remembering your dreams and everything, it will work. You'll start to see visions and read the signs of life, and you will also be connected with your guides even stronger. You'll fulfill whatever it is you were meant to do on this plane. And ultimately, you will start procuring abundance because you'll own back your spiritual essence. And not only that, you'll be giving energy to your ancestors from this plane to help you. They don't need it. The Jade Emperor has created an amazing system on the other side for all spirits to live more than comfortably and not have to work if they don't want to. But the energy that is from here given to the spirit is a special type of energy that is much, much, much needed. And so that's all I have to say. Please tune in to another channeling. I've got a lot to share. Thank you for like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for following Seshat's wisdom, or rather listening to Seshat's wisdom. Thank you for allowing me to share Seshat's wisdom. Take care.